Welcome to
Welcome.
another episode of the Love Change
Hello.
podcast. Kay right here, Amor, going through the nitty and gritty, talking about what's hard about change, sharing stuff that we might not share on a regular basis. We try to be open and honest, vulnerable,
Taboo free.
taboo free, shameless. And today's topic is career changes. Kay right here has had a career that my cousin Damun is
Adoring.
jaw dropping by. Like, I want that.
I want that.
How would you summarize your career, Kay?
I would say it's pretty steep. It was pretty steep going. Looking back, when I was 28, I was promoted for the first time to lead a team.
Mhm.
And then 29 was promoted the next time, leading, being the youngest head of back in the days at the company I was working for. And my goal was always to be there before I'm 30. So I kind of,
Beware.
to definitely be ahead of,
Head of
um, head of a division.
how many people were you in charge of?
4 or 5, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was always on my list, on my to do list in life, and I could tick that off. Then I changed a couple times, and then the last job that I was still working for someone was being a vice president for Calvin Klein.
Mhm.
That one makes your cousin drop the jaw the most,
Yeah,
and
it's
most
true.
people are really, looking at it, adoring it that someone was a vice president.
Mhm.
So in a nutshell, I think that would be a summary of my career.
Steep. What was steep about it?
Steep. How quickly it went. I think I was always raising my hand when it was. Hold on for a second. There we go. All the blockers. I think I was always raising my hand, not really being ready, but just being hungry for
Okay.
more. And I think that made me really accelerate in my career and get where I was. And looking backwards, I think you're never ready. But if you raise your hand, you just grow into those shoes, into that shoe size. So that
Mhm.
kind of is a good set of mind.
And
To
of all the jobs you had, which one do you miss the most and why?
I think the last one I really missed the most because it was the most white paper start.
White paper start. Okay. So
Yeah,
you had a open card to do what you wanted.
I not necessarily an open card to do what I wanted to, but it was really my responsibility to hire the team to set up the strategy to literally everything.
Hmm.
And that was pretty cool. That was really like, hey, I have no idea. My manager, when he hired me, he was like, I have no idea about fashion, women's wear fashion. You're the one. Just do it. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So doing literally everything, really finding the right people, that was quite cool. And really just trusting all the experience that I gathered the years before
So
to.
that was a part of the job, and then when that was over, it would be just keeping the machine going, no?
Yeah, but still, there's always a challenge every season. Like either one team member leaves or you're growing, which was really like exponentially
Hmm.
planning to grow, and then market request would change, etc. Usually, a fashion brand also needs at least half a year, if not longer, to really from design to have the product in the showroom, and then another half year to have it in the store. So you always think a year ahead. So that is also like, when you drop something into the showroom, you might change your strategy already. So it's like half a year later, it just hits the end consumer. But then you,
I've
on the
never
way,
been
you
there. It makes sense.
change
It makes sense to you, but that's what you liked about it.
the pace definitely also. Yeah.
So a high rhythm of
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah. You just gotta be there. You just really gotta decide. If you don't decide, you definitely miss out.
How many times did you change jobs?
In total, I had like definitely like three bigger stations, and then I was one company for super short time in between.
So four.
Yeah.
Four jobs in 12 years, you
Yeah.
said? And how did you decide to change jobs?
There was always something that was triggering my interest. There's always something where I was excited about. I kind of like arrived at a point with the job I was at to be like, kind of routine-ish. It's kind of boring-ish. It's kind of like keep it running, as you said earlier, like really
Mm.
maintaining something. And I kind of knew how it's going and how it's working.
Mm.
And then something new came, and it was really like I had plenty job offers in between, but most of them were like, yeah, something wasn't really right. And the ones that I picked was like really what I was really feeling, hey, this is something, it's a bigger challenge. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to grow this brand. There's a huge portion of what I haven't done before. So it was also a huge portion of learning something new, managing a whole new part of a division, etc., etc.
So if I hear you correctly, the if your current job kind of is comfortable or easy, then you're kind of
Get bored.
scouting on the next thing.
Yeah, I think I would just like phrase it or like frame it differently now. And, like, I don't know, with the job I'm having now, I would probably dive deeper into one section to grow it bigger or whatever.
Mm.
I don't think it's going to get boring at the moment. So I don't think I'm not there yet. But
Mm.
definitely, if I would find myself in a situation where things would be like, yeah, I'm pretty much on top of things, then I'd be like, yeah, is there something else that I can find?
Mm. We'll get back to your current occupation, but
Okay.
what were the three biggest challenges of changing jobs?
I think you kind of like you have to put your head like you that's what I said, like you arrived at some point in a comfort zone place
Mm.
with your current job. So you like you know how things go, you know who to talk to, you know what might potentially go wrong, what is good, what is bad, where you need to keep an eye on, etc. You kind of like get the whole setup.
Mm.
And then when you change jobs, there's not really much that stays. So you really have to put your head around the beginner's mind.
Mm.
You really have to start and be like, yeah, I might know how the German market is wired and
Mm.
what the product is that is needed, but still, it's a different fashion product with a different label.
Mm.
So I need to think new. And then the people I talk to are completely new. The processes are in many senses new. So wherever you be like, when someone starts to explain you something and you be like, I know how that works. You'd be like literally biting your tongue and be like, hold on, no, 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 don't be that. Like you
Smart
have no
ass.
idea
Yeah.
exactly. Don't try to act as a smart ass, but really like listen toward really till the end what someone has to say. And it's really important. Like you literally have to find out what the setup is of also people that you can rely on. Even like operational processes, you have to really find the right people to go to be like, this is my IT man, this is my operation man or woman, this is my this person, to
So it's
really make sure.
nesting, really knowing your people, knowing what's the quickest way to get things done.
Yeah, you might see, I don't know, in the system, in the process, you might see that something is going well, but then you would call the person that takes care of logistics and you'd be like, hey, are we really sure this is coming from the supplier? I kind of don't believe that they're really delivering the product.
Mm.
And then they'll be like, yeah. But
Okay.
you need those people with that level of honesty to be like,
Mm.
before your manager basically flags you, you should be having that information ahead and
And
literally
these
like
these are
going.
these are very the things you mention is like being a beginner again, having patience, learning processes you kind of know, but you get to know again, and then how do you say it again? Also finding your people and your tribe within a corporation. But those are all very
Specific.
no work related challenges.
Yeah.
That's just that also would be part of having a new job that you've never had before.
Yeah.
But what I'm curious about, what were the biggest personal challenges?
I think in the corporate environment, it's usually the politics also,
You know?
to learn how to, talk to that person, how to talk to that person, how to manage your manager, how to manage your team, how to manage
You
all the
experienced that as
peers.
a personal challenge?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because it also makes you a different person.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, it's maybe not the best example that comes to my mind, but um, the cultural aspect also plays a big role. Like, people here are just different than in Germany. So that's also something to be considered, because you can like really, really go wrong if you don't consider how
True.
people are wired here. And then of course for me personally, moving houses in between, being around still a different language, being around different culture, it is a big challenge. You kind of like, you land and you start working and you're giving you 150% in work, but then your whole setup around also changed.
Yeah.
And you're like, what supermarket am I going to?
Hmm.
What do I need? What do I buy? Like, all the things that were set before, you just have to establish new.
And that had to do with changing countries or
Of
also
course.
changing cities.
Also changing cities, like
Yeah.
literally everything. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, if you call places here, people talk Dutch, and then if you're lucky, then they also talk English. But if they don't, then you're like, yeah,
Man.
I don't know. Registering my motorbike was quite a challenge. I was super happy that my assistant took care of it,
Yeah.
because that was like, I don't know, it needed like 55 documents, and I don't know how much paperwork, and everything was in Dutch, and she was just giving me the list of things she needs, and I was like, oh my goodness, if I would have need to figure it out myself,
Would be
it
hard.
would be just like a nightmare. Like, old salary slip, new salary slip, health insurance before, health insurance now, like, I don't know what. Like, I was like, do you also need my birth certificate? Seriously. So I think that was the
And if you,
biggest.
I'm still a bit curious about this
Yeah.
question. Is like these are all things that come when you have changed the job, and before deciding, uh,
Mhm.
what are the biggest challenges?
Before deciding for the new job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the person to think too long about it.
Okay.
I kind of, my mom is always making, and she's always mentioning that whenever I go also traveling, she's like, she would research before and check the weather, etc., etc. I just literally go and
Mm.
figure out on the spot. I'm like more, it was more like Amsterdam. Yeah, I can imagine to live here. You know, if someone would have asked me to go to New York, I would have probably said no, because I love the city, but to live there is just a nightmare. So it's more
Mm.
like, will I like the place to be,
So your
and
decision was like
just,
a gut feeling.
yeah, if it feels right, I just do it. It was anyway a crazy thing. I basically was in Italy to see a supplier with my company before, and then they flew me in from Italy to Amsterdam to have the job interview. It was a long ass day, having I think 7 or 8 interviews with different people to get to know people, and it was
Yeah.
just like a really nice setup. Everyone was genuinely interested in me as a person, also if I fit into the brand, if I fit into the company,
Yeah.
etc. And that's where I was like, wow, I never had such a nice interview day before.
Okay.
And that's how I just decided. And Amsterdam, yeah, I wanted to go abroad anyway, and Amsterdam was just a really beautiful opportunity too. So
Mm.
yeah.
Final question from my side for
Yeah.
today.
Quickie quickie go through today.
Why are you not looking for a job anymore?
It's kind of difficult to explain that, I guess. I think the last job, yeah, after having the burnout and being in recovery, something in me was just like, yeah, just don't go back. Define your own life. I think I came to a point where fashion was just not matching that much my life vision
Mm.
anymore. And then I was like, yeah, you can just go back and like do the same thing all over again, or you can just be bold enough to walk away and try to establish something that you believe more into and that is more your vision.
Yeah, but you could have also chosen to work for a health food organization as you're starting yourself now.
Sure, but I can also do it myself. I think I
And that's
collect.
the no, that's the question. Why are you not like, okay, you say I can make more money or I can do what I like to do, but you
Mm,
decided to not be employed any longer.
yeah, yeah,
And
I
why is that?
yeah, I think I have probably this much knowledge of how to, but that feels enough to start something and
Mm.
like fail and fail massively and fail more and then get up again and be like, okay, big learning, move on, try again. I think that's a pretty messy, painful process, but I think I'm really excited to do it. Like seeing the supplier today, I was talking to super young kid doing his wholesale business, and like I was like, yeah, that's really cool. Just start something because you have a personal need that needed to be covered, and you discovered there is a need in the market that can be covered if you offer something as a product. So why not just risking it and trying, you know?
And that what makes me wonder. Um, you could have made this decision a long time ago.
That's true. But it was just going too well
What do you mean?
in corporate.
Corporate was going too well.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole career was just going too well. That's the point. Like, I had my moments where I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. But then, yeah, things just went too well to walk away from it. Just like all of a sudden. And whomever I would talk to would be like, listen, you have a perfect life, you have a perfect career, you just cannot do it. And I was not strong enough back in the days to just say, yeah, I don't care. I think I really needed this breaking point called burnout, this crossing in life to be like, okay, you can go left, which is back, or you can go right and just try the unknown. Because that was really like such a transformation to really put all the cards back on the table and be like, what's my set? What do I want to do? And I think that also, yeah, this whole transformation kind of enabled me to
So if somebody would offer
choose.
you the right conditions and the right product and the right market as an employer, like, hey, Katerina, I want you to scale our healthy cookies brand, you would say no.
I don't know. I wouldn't cross it off my list, I guess.
Mm.
I think it really depends what it is, but I would say it makes my heart beat faster when I think about growing my own brand. You know, I don't know. That would be a great cookie brand. I mean, obviously, I really love cookies. It's a difficult choice,
Hard
and
choice
it's
for
a
me.
healthy cookie. But then I might be more. I think I might be more into the consulting part
Okay.
and be like, how can I support you? Or how can we maybe even merge and do
Collaborate.
some collab, etc. Instead of just like making the whole thing. I think I would be a great
So
consultant.
did
But
you after your burnout just not look for jobs anymore?
I really wasn't looking for jobs. No.
No.
It's funny, but I really wasn't. I always get those LinkedIn notifications, and obviously you also get job offers on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you can also change your status, on LinkedIn to
Like looking for opportunities.
exactly, but no one can see it. Just like it's for headhunters only visible.
Yeah.
Never did it. Really, literally, never did it.
Okay.
And so, like,
So it was clear when you had your shift, like, I'm not gonna look for a job, whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely not. It's really interesting. Yeah. And also the jobs that came in or people asking, I was like, yeah, we can have a chat of 15 minutes just to like listen what the gig is. But not because I was like, yeah, not really.
Pretty cool. And how does it feel in this unknown territory so far?
It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
It really feels pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Something in me just didn't allow me to go back. It was really just like, no, God, you're just not going to go back. It's not the place you belong. And I think with my superfood pharmacy, I'm kind of like making all the mistakes and figuring things out and struggling with stuff and cursing along the way. But it's great.
One little promo. What is mysuperfoodpharmacy.com?
It's a place you go to prevent sickness. So you can get your mixes that make you feel better. Come on.
Put you on the spot, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the one-stop shop.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, great. I don't know enough about all the superfoods in the market. Kay experiments a lot and reads up a lot about it.
Yeah, you
Also,
just test it. You just get the product to test.
also approaches it from a macrobiotic point of view,
Mm.
and basically with the superfood pharmacy mixes, I get to supercharge myself. What is it? Early birding it,
Yeah,
laser focusing.
yeah.
Um,
Liver cleansing.
yeah,
I do the
things
eternal youth.
exactly things to stay healthy,
Yeah.
and some of them are not so tasty, but most of them are pretty tasty.
Try to make it as tasty as possible. I think that's kind of the approach to also give people
Yeah,
stuff that tastes nice. You
true,
know, I was
true.
talking to the guy today and I was like, yeah, there's so much in the market that might do a good job, but if you try it, it just, yeah, I'm sorry, it just tastes
Awful,
awful.
yeah.
And yeah, you don't want to have this feeling of like, I know it's good for me, I don't want to drink it, but at least have some enjoyment in it. So
That's I guess the mission of the superfood pharmacy, to make it healthy and stay,
tasty-ish.
yeah, like a nice
Yeah.
experience. Like,
Yeah. And some things obviously need to grow on you. I think when we started testing the early bird and
mm,
laser focus, it was like, kind of weird, kind of good, but it grows on you, which is
they're all
nice.
new products. That's what I like about it. It's all
You
novel
haven't
products.
tasted
It's
that
new
before.
tastes. Yeah.
So it also you need to be like, okay, I'm curious. And then you feel the effect and you're like, actually, it
I have
does.
one more question.
Yeah.
Like, what is the biggest challenge of your shift from having a boss into being your own boss?
Yeah, you have to kick your own ass.
You have to kick your own ass.
Yeah, you have to really like, you don't have someone that is gonna look strange on you when you walk into the office at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
It's just yourself. So you have to get up in the morning and just kick it
Mm.
and define what to do the day, define to do what the week, define what your goal is for the month or whatever, and just like do it. And of course, you can get distracted with tons of things, but you just have to keep your focus. And if you
That's the biggest challenge.
I think it's one of the biggest challenges, yeah, to really kick my ass every morning and be like, yeah, there is no one that I report to, that I
Mm.
report into. And there can be like, oh, that was a great job, pat me on the shoulder.
Or
Or
raise an eyebrow.
like, what, seriously? You burned
This
that
is
much money?
this is what you did.
Yeah, but just like, yeah, whatever I do, I have to really run by myself, sometimes run by you and ask for your opinion, but really
Hmm.
be like, is that making sense? Is like buying that course making sense? Is paying for the promotion making sense? Is that mix gonna do something within the product portfolio because I believe it's good? Is the competition doing something else, etc., etc.? Like literally every decision is just like, yeah, I tell myself it's right or wrong. I can ask people, but still in the end I'm the one that is deciding. I cannot look to someone and be like, what do you think? It's basically, like look up to
Yeah, they
someone.
always say that the market knows. So
Yeah, that's right.
testing
Yeah,
in the market is also a hard one.
yeah, absolutely. So
I'll give the mic to you.
all
I've got a
right,
lot of nice insights from your
that's
changes
good.
in your career.
Okay,
Thanks for sharing.
sure. From there you go. That's my part. Slightly confused. What were your career goals when starting your studies, and how did that change?
I
You had
guess
something in mind.
my biggest goal in life was to become a construction worker.
Hmm.
And then when we moved to the Netherlands and I did my high school end exam, turned out I had a bit more brain capacity than is required to be a construction worker. So I went and studied architecture.
Hmm.
Kind of regret it in the sense that I could have done a more technical study. As soon as I started architecture, I realized I would not want to become an architect. But I had to finish school because I started it.
Hmm. Can
But,
I hook back to the construction worker?
mm,
Why that?
I saw my dad building our house when I was a kid. And we were like all big, sweaty dudes. It was awesome, and something was
Okay.
coming out of the ground.
Hmm. That's nice.
I did a lot of real projects as well as a job on the
Hmm.
side. I did a project in Indonesia. We built the pavilion of the architecture faculty. I did a little um, horse shed in the
Mm-hmm.
south of the Netherlands.
That's cool.
Um, but basically, as soon as I started studying, I also started my first business with a friend of mine, music. We had a little music
Mm-hmm.
studio. So I was always split up into two realities. And I guess back then, the only goal that I wasn't even aware of, besides earning my own money, because that's what I've been doing since the age of 14, was to learn, really curiosity driven.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the age of 23, 24, I had a pretty growing youth communication agency.
Mm-hmm.
We had two partners, we had gigs all around, and I was doubting whether I would sign up for a master's or not because I was enjoying the pace of work life more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a bunch of networking on the side. And yeah, then I decided to stop that because I was done learning
Mm-hmm.
and I realized how difficult it is to scale a consulting service.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that was the core of our business, was consulting and presenting and facilitating and really hour based. So I was like, no, I want to do something more technical.
Mm-hmm.
But back then we did have a couple of like retreats for ourselves with the two partners, like where do you want to be in 5 years? And then I guess my biggest goal was to retire before the
Mm-hmm.
age of 30.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like that one.
yeah, I remember my friend also looked at me like, it makes no sense what you're gonna do when you retire at the age
Doesn't
of
need to make
30.
sense to anyone.
No, but I think for me the biggest question mark would be like, what you gonna do if you don't need to do it for money?
Mm, absolutely.
Mm. And I found out now, but it definitely took me a while to figure it out after 30 because, um, yeah, money definitely is a status symbol. It is a form of measuring how successful you are in life.
For many people, it's a measurement for
It
self worth.
also could be, so really unraveling that programming and being like, no, what do I really care about?
Mm-hmm.
What will I keep doing if all my bills are paid?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that, yeah, your question was what were my career goals when
Mm-hmm.
I was studying?
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess learning, growing.
that's nice.
And I think that has not changed.
Yeah,
No,
cool.
I think so.
Thank you. What makes being an entrepreneur more interesting than employment?
I don't know because I have had very little employment. Uh,
I'm gonna make a guess.
I have to really completely rely on myself and my wit and my creativity and my, yeah, speed and like, I cannot imagine what it's like to show up at a place and be like, okay, what do you want me to do? Like that's a long time ago for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
In like very, like, I'm a bartender. I show up at a bar. What do you want to drink? I'll make it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess, yeah, the level of being autonomous, changing your mind. I've like after retiring, I've changed, I don't know, 4 or 5 times what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's a painful part of it, but it's also attractive. I find
Mm-hmm.
that attractive. Like it requires a lot of trust and faith to like be like, okay, don't worry, you're not becoming retarded. You're just figuring
Mm-hmm.
it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
agree.
I guess another thing that I think is very sexy is if I want to take a break or a holiday, I do so without asking
Don't
or
need to run it by someone.
that one I also never like I notice it when I'm in the process of acquiring corporate clients. Like somebody's really enthusiastic, but then they have to kick it to the higher ups, and the higher ups have to volleyball it to the other higher ups, and then people have to
Budget,
play
etc.,
tennis and
etc.
ping pong, and
Yeah.
then 2 months later we're gonna put it on hold. Like stuff like that would boggle me. That's what also would frustrate me about architecture because a lot of it is very slow paced
Mm.
and.
But that's kind of the thing with corporate.
It's also normal, I guess, a pace of life, but like I studied to be a urban planner and a real estate manager,
Mm.
and understand these trains of thoughts which are like stretching over 20 years, 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
50 years. I guess right now I'm too young to really engage with them.
Mm.
Or I might be like I'm very interested in investing in buying land and developing it over time.
Yeah.
Uh, but to do that as a profession,
Mm.
I don't know. It
Makes sense.
sounds too challenging for me right now. Like right now, I'm building something which has a vision, and then I have to bring it back to where I'm at right now and proceed step by step. I'm
Mm.
enjoying that growing something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does.
Uh, I
Yeah.
think one thing I do sometimes miss about being employed is when I hear other people like I don't know an office party or
That's what you
colleagues.
miss.
Yeah, colleagues are nice or not
Yeah.
nice, but they are there for your
That's
entertainment.
definitely, yeah. I think having the
Somebody take care of you.
community, yeah. I think for me, also signing up for the office desk
Mm.
recently was also
Yeah, you
kind
were
of.
super happy
I
about it.
said to the woman that was giving me the tour, I was like, it feels like my first day at work. To like, okay,
Mm.
remember the names, remember the ways to walk to get from A to B. Don't like just like really keep everything in mind. It was really
Mm.
funny. Like you have this level of like, oh, I'm super excited and I'm nervous and something, and you just like, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's really great because you have people around, so you can also be like, hey, does someone have an idea about XYZ? And there's maybe someone that can help you, so that's pretty cool. Instead of like thinking, yeah, about your network and being like, ah, is there someone that can really support me? Can I reach out? It's just like, yeah, basically there might be someone around the corner, which is super cool. I think it's good to that part is definitely also gave me a big boost to be like, yeah, it's not a company that I'm working for, but having a network, having a crowd,
Mm.
it's really
Yeah,
good.
just a whole bunch of other people were showing up
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah. And just like, yeah, everyone is kind of tired, everyone kind of needs coffee, everyone is like, yeah, okay, what is the plan for today? And can have
Exactly.
just like some chats and a bit of, yeah,
Yeah,
change.
every time I approached such an environment, I felt like an odd duck. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember with the Yes
That's
Delft, I
sweet.
had the option to like rent office space. I always felt like I can only do it when I have more people in my crew. I needed to facilitate my crew. And I
Hmm.
like what you did is like you don't have a crew yet, but you're like, hey, I just
I
need
just
that.
need,
I just need that for
hmm,
myself, so I'm gonna do that.
yeah, I really need a community.
Hmm.
That's something that I really needed a long time to figure out, but I
Hmm.
definitely need that. It helps me to really drive.
Yeah, I might consider it myself. I've been thinking about stealing your,
My
you know,
idea.
use your pass. Like, hello, I am Katerina.
I grow some beard
Yeah,
and
that
some
was a
more
rough night.
hair.
It was a rough night. Don't ask about it.
Promise I'm gonna look shaved tomorrow. Let's see. I'm gonna
Yeah,
think about it.
see what happens.
Yeah. Ready for the next one?
Always.
Cool. What made you decide against a career in the corporate environment?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I didn't have time for it while I was studying. I was running my own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But you never had the moment where you've been like, I want to work in corporate. Was it Or did it just
I
like
never
didn't happen?
understood people who worked in
Okay,
corporate.
so it was like really a different path.
I, how to say this best? Mm, I know people who had their own business in the real estate branch while we were studying,
Mm-hmm.
and then switched over to corporate and really made big leaps, and are like now
Mm-hmm.
heads of departments at big real estate houses, and
Mm-hmm.
like brokers, and uh, I get that. Mm, I never had such a clear line in what I was doing. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
even if I look at other entrepreneurs, I've been changing my mind so many times, and like not being a specialist in any sense
Mm-hmm.
for so long
Mm-hmm.
that uh, I do not know which corporation would make sense for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't.
And also, when we were studying still, when everybody was considering corporate jobs, and I just couldn't get it. Like you're negotiating your time and freedom for X amount and some promise of job security. I do not believe in job security.
The funny thing is, it always scared me when I got those contracts, the unlimited
Yeah,
contract until you retire.
yeah.
Every time I got that, kind of like something in me was really like,
It's like a
I
marriage.
don't want to. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my
Mm,
gosh, it's so many years. So the last one was also like, oh my gosh, I actually would prefer some gig for 2 or 3 years to be just like
that's funny.
American. So yeah, I totally get that.
But I think the biggest reason for me to not consider it is I've had talks with like the ex CEO of a big what's it called, engineering construction, and like
Hmm.
he was coaching me, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should just apply for a traineeship. I was really lost. I was thinking, okay, maybe I should do a PhD. Maybe I should just get a job.
Hmm.
I was done not doing anything. I was searching,
When
and
was that?
like about 2 years ago when I quit all my other businesses. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was doing yoga school with my sister, exited that. Then I started
Mm-hmm.
doing the cafe there.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible idea to make cappuccinos in a wheelchair. I started helping a friend of mine with his hamburger place, and I was doing construction and consulting with Ismail.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
one by one, all of those got, yeah, they didn't make sense. So I was like, okay, what do I do next? Because I
Mm-hmm.
was very, um, I had trouble slowing down. So eventually I
Mm-hmm.
ended up slowing down, taking a sabbatical, and writing a
Mm-hmm.
book. But in that moment, I was looking for something to distract me. And then Neil, he said, like, yeah, you don't want to be in the situation that your manager is somebody who's less intelligent than you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, I never considered that an option. For me, the worst, like how I also talked Ismail out of taking a job, was like, yeah, you don't want to show up someplace, somebody telling you to make a PowerPoint presentation that nobody's going to look at, and then you spend
Mm-hmm.
your whole day on that, But that was also a reason why I was like, I never considered that your higher ups are not always the brightest and smartest. And
Absolutely.
I'm
They just know
definitely
who
a
to
person
hire.
who'll be like super poor dealing with that.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically you need to know. You need to have a good hiring strategy. If you
exactly.
do that, then like, yeah,
You're doing good.
people can make you shine.
Yeah.
Which is still, it's a great quality. I'm not even deprecating it. It's really,
No, and he was
it's.
saying that from a sea level perspective, so he
Mm-hmm.
might have been the person who's in charge of
Mm-hmm.
smarter people.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking at me and being honest, like, you don't seem like the guy who's
Mm-hmm.
gonna do well under those conditions. You need to be
Mm-hmm.
able to bite your lip, be polite, be diplomatic,
Mm-hmm.
write it out.
Politics, politics,
Those
politics.
things a bit too radical for those things.
kind of totally connect with that. I mean, when I started to work at Hugo Boss in the brand management division, the manager she just arrived there like, I don't know, 2 months earlier, and she was coming from a whole different area, which is not bad, but she was just completely not interested in like knowing any detail whatsoever in the system. She was just like, I want this, and then we were like, yeah, but it doesn't work because you have your SAP system, and you just have to like do it a certain way. You just cannot break the rules because it just doesn't work. And she was completely not invested in that. She was like, I don't care.
Just fix it.
And just fix it. And like every time asking the same stupid questions, like you have a coding in a system for colors, 100 is white, 999 is black. And every time we would have a card on the table and was saying 100, she would be like, what color is that? And you sit there and you're just like, woman, why don't you just remember those most simple things? I can totally agree. And at some point she left, but it was like literally freaking me out every time it will be the same thing. And you just, you have to stay polite because she's your manager. And
Exactly.
It's not so great. It's not so easy, but.
Yeah, I've never had to do those things, I guess.
Yeah. Lucky you.
I don't know. I think it's also part of your development as a professional.
It gives you a lot diplomatic insights and knowledge.
Those moments that you step out of the room and you're like,
yeah, you just basically, you're like, you do your face pause. So you just like stay in this super polite, knowing that everyone is thinking she just made an idiot out of herself. And then you go out and you're like, okay, well.
That was that.
That was that. Not my problem. But I still gotta I don't know, take the blame in a meeting for something that you told her before is going to just completely blow up. And just like,
it's an expensive choice, but I have made it as an entrepreneur as well. If I would have clients I didn't vibe with, and you're not obliged to take them, they can take their business elsewhere.
Yeah, of course.
That's something you cannot do when you're working for a boss.
No.
Or it has to be such a big organization that they can shuffle you around.
Yeah, you can pick your boss in best case if you change to jobs or whatever, but still that can change. You can get someone in front of your nose that you literally just do not vibe with, don't like at all.
No.
Had that a couple of times as well. I was just like, well, you just gotta keep it together and just groove through it.
Yeah.
So it teaches you a lot of diplomatic skills, which I think is also good.
To a certain extent, but I can also imagine if I look at all the burnout symptoms, a lot of them are also like, if somebody stresses you the hell out, if you have a, verbally abusive senior.
Yeah.
And then that's the place you have to go to every day, and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Can wear you down.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think seriously, like if I sum up the whole 12 years, I would say that probably 70% was things that I learned that I never want to be like. I really had horrible managers along the way. Screaming and shouting and making irrational decisions, etc., etc.
Yeah, I cannot imagine.
I just have to obey.
My friend Navid, working in a law firm, like people like your senior shouting at you. I would maybe like punch the guy in the job, and then I would get sued or something. But that's a super nasty, toxic soup to like go back in every day.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially like my last job in Germany was absolutely this nature. And at some point, like starting shouting in a meeting would be like the regular day. And I think towards my end job there, I just came back with a list in the show fix and was like, hey, listen, you like asshole big time. I just gotta tell you what, just like really, you've been one of the worst managers in my life. I just gotta tell you why it's just completely shitty. Dropped his jaw. Was pretty cool. Okay. Came out a couple centimeters taller after that meeting. But it was also like, I think I always find my way to like make points. Not in front of a group, obviously humiliating someone, but really like a one-to-one. To also like just grab my boat and be like, hey, this is really bad. I'm
Unacceptable.
not
Yeah.
saying it myself because I don't like you. That is on a different page, but it's just like you don't treat people like that. That's just not okay.
No,
And I think that's also important to, find your way to say those things, to voice those things.
it's true.
So yeah, I wouldn't punch people, but
Yeah.
verbally I would kind of get there.
Well, it's a lot of stress though.
Yeah.
You get like it would freak me the hell out.
Yeah, I think I kind of like I for myself made the commitment to not let that sit in me. To really, if I felt something started to stuck up in me,
Mm.
I would really voice it and be like, I just gotta really say that because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna carry it till the end of my life, and I don't want that.
Exactly.
This is really waiting on me. This is giving me bad thoughts when I wake up in the night and just not.
Exactly, and then like I have not had the experience, and I was like really like baffled to realize how many people have had the experience.
It's insane.
Right?
Yeah, it's
like
just insane. It's just like I don't know many people who are really like, yeah, super happy with my job, super happy with my manager, like safe and sound, everything is great. Not many at all.
Yeah, that's insane.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, if you curse at your senior, you'll probably get called into HR and sent to a anger management course. Well, if the seniors
Cursing the other way.
like you have this little picture of this bird on the top pooping on two birds underneath it, and then four birds underneath it, like how management and hierarchy, like if the guy gets stressed out by his senior, he's gonna take it out on his juniors.
But that's also just the quality of a good or a bad manager. I cannot phrase it differently, If you like give further all the stress and stuff to your team, you're just not managing well. You have to be like, I had so many assignments and projects and things to do. I was like, this will never ever be needed. Like, so I would not even tell the team. I'd be just sitting it out. Or if I would get something that was completely impossible, I would call the team in and be like, okay, listen, people, everyone is going to just like drop dead in a second, but we need to find a solution. So this is the assignment. We're not going to do that, but let's come up with a solution. That is 4 weeks later. That is alternative BCD, but just like not be like, okay, good luck with that.
Just
Not my
press
problem.
it down
Exactly,
people's
because
throat.
that's not how you manage. That's just like walking out of the way of shit falling down on you. That's what it is. So you really have to be smart and be like, how can I manage that? How can we find a solution? And hey, I never had a manager who I would walk back and be like, listen, we cannot accomplish this, but this is our option A or B. No one ever said, yeah, go back to your desk and make it happen. They'd be like, oh wow, she's really managing the situation and she's giving me solutions rather than saying no. So I think that's really a good way to just deal with that situation. But it really depends. I think there are so many types. And I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly along the way. And I think that was pretty interesting to learn for myself how not to and develop my own character when it comes to leading people. Yeah. Yes. How would you frame your personal career goals?
Currently, my career goals. I'm definitely focusing on
Maybe you can tell us a bit more about it.
burnout prevention is my focus right now. I've had to go through a whole process after my accident, the spinal cord injury, having a more, how do you say it, sensitive scale. So I get out of balance quicker. And I really had to realize that sometimes I get my energy from the wrong places. Like I had some unsustainable energy sources. I guess my, not to make it heavy, but my experiences as a kid made me really run fast. So I ran fast, like having a full-time study and a job or our own company at the old time. I didn't really have a direction. So I would just
Mhm.
run fast in one direction until I was burnt out, crash, and be upset about being down, get up,
Mhm.
run into another direction real fast. And so I think for the first time in my life, I really have a clear focus, which has to do with energy management.
Mhm.
And you can put it under the personal development or mental health, emotional health, your AQ, adaptability quotient, a lot of ways to frame it. But I feel like currently the highest need is burnout prevention, and in the future, dealing with change, getting good at change. The energy management compass is my brainchild and something that
That's a
I
beautiful way to phrase it.
hope to grow into a very accessible tool and curriculum to help people deal with change. I think I've had to deal with change from early on in my life, and a lot of us do, some of us don't. But looking from 2020, we just had a little taster of the amount of change that's coming
Mhm.
towards us.
Well, we like really are completely not the ones that initiated any of that. Just like pouring at you.
It's on one side climate change, but on the other side also the technological disruption that's
Mm.
happening. Like uh, you can place a bet that almost a very small percentage, like a
Mm.
one-digit percentage of the Fortune 500 companies that exist now will exist
Hmm.
in 10 years.
Absolutely.
And that
Yeah.
means something for a lot of people's
Hmm.
jobs because these are not just companies sitting on money, they employ people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will see their industries disrupted, will see their jobs displaced, will have to adapt to new jobs, have to be retrained, have to deal with the fact that they have to be constant beginners.
Hmm.
Um, my personal career goal, I would define it as really making energy management a part of whether it is institutionalized or not, but like a little manual that you get of how to human.
Hmm.
Like the how to human that we do get is okay, your parents tell you to be a good boy or a good girl, whatever that means in your cultural environment,
How to human. I love that.
and go get an education, get a job, pay your bills. And this thing that you wake up in at some point,
Avatar. Yeah.
uh, how does it work? How does it thrive? How does it
Mm.
how resilient is it? I think that's one thing that
Mm.
saddens me, the experiences I've had with young friends committing suicide, or like nowadays still a lot of people uh, taking a diagnosis and being like, okay, that's my limiting factor, that's my handicap,
Mm.
and then designing their life around that. I really believe that if you do take the time and effort to figure out what the recovery is that you need for your
Mm.
symptom, so what is the cause of that symptom,
Mhm.
then your body will recover and your mind will recover, emotionally you will recover, spiritually. um, but it's not talked about. So okay, you go to yoga. Well, yoga was designed for when we didn't even have running water.
Mm.
So how do you implement um, all these levels of wisdom into the 21st century, which
Mm.
is very digital, very fast paced?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
how do you propel yourself through life sustainably?
Mm.
And I really look at life, if you would gamify it, it doesn't matter what the age is, there are different levels in life and different
Mm.
chapters and different stories you can live.
Mm.
And I find it hard to grasp it for myself because
Mhm.
I've had so much of it getting twisted upside down. So I thought I was going this way, but then boom, everything flipped.
Mhm.
I have to go that way.
Mm.
I think that's a important thing to be aware of. Like, okay, what was that quote? Life is what is happening while you're making plans or
Mm,
something.
that's pretty good one.
Yeah, and it will be amazing to live our plans, but it's also good to realize, okay, this is what's happening in my life right now.
Mm,
Why aren't you making steps with your career? Yeah, my dad just died. Okay, maybe you're going through
mm,
a different phase of life, and that's enriching in a way that you cannot
mm,
explain on a CV. Or I just had kids, and one of
mm,
them has special needs. That's also
mm,
um, not regarded as how you would benchmark success,
mm.
but it is a big part of
Yeah.
how to human, and to really emphasize that these phases in life, and whether we choose them or not, they choose us. There is something in them that will make your life a richer experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, as you said the other day, there are phases in life where you cannot write an invoice for self healing, for example. It takes a lot of time. It's not where you can
mm,
just put an invoice in someone's letterbox and be like, yeah, please give me the money
uh,
for that. No, but it's like, it's so important to go through that.
no. Yeah, I think it's really funny if I reflect on it. Like, my biggest goal career wise was to retire before I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to pull that off by some kind of miracle,
Mm-hmm.
to create a 5 year blank space for myself. So when I was 30, I hit a thing that I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about my bills for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing I did was start working harder and doing stupid projects for like financially super suicide, bad business partners,
Mm-hmm.
everything to not slow down. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually, when I slowed down, feeling good about slowing down was really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Having a sabbatical, feeling good about having a sabbatical,
Yeah.
and now starting back up again with all those experiences, and just the amount of, I know I have a lot of self confidence, but how much I myself get tested in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to promote it and make it um, something that I would encourage other people to do as well, it's also because I need it, I guess. But also, I realize how difficult it is, truly. So yeah, my career goal is to really grow this. I think I had a pretty deep dip, in the sense that after my accident, I was like, okay, why am I even getting out of bed?
Mm-hmm.
And I would start business projects that were like financially sound and good opportunities, but it wasn't where my heart was at.
Mm-hmm.
And really making sense out of all the things that happened to me, to be like, okay, my pain and suffering will serve a higher good if I do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the energy management compass. And that's something that for instance, Dylan, every time I see him, he's like, yeah, I've been telling people about your stuff.
Nice.
Because he's gone through the experience that he was like, I don't know how it is for women, but guys kind of take pride into just biting their teeth and roughing it out.
Mm-hmm.
But he really realized, like, hey, I'm going through a phase that I'm like having breakdowns in the shower, and I'm just like not myself anymore. And then he was like, yeah, that energy thing that you thought about, it really helped me
Mm-hmm.
pull through that, and come back up again, instead of spiraling deeper
Mm-hmm.
into abyss. And first of all, I love it that it makes sense that he has
Mm-hmm.
use out of it. Like,
Absolutely.
where do you get your energy?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're 100% sure that you'll be spending energy. Time is
Mm-hmm.
passing, energy you're spending, and how do you gather it? Like, that's a very, yeah. Of course, you have to eat your breakfast and lunch, or not, and you have to intermittent fast. But
Sleep.
is
But
is that it? Is that really as simple
mm,
as this complex
exactly, that's the
machinery
point. Like, this
works?
is such a miraculous engine, and then yeah, no one can tell me that just by eating food and sleeping you can just recharge fully on
No.
all levels that you have in this avatar. So yeah, but yeah, no one gives you any manual on how to. So I
Yeah.
think that's a beautiful project. It's a beautiful career goal.
Thanks. Little promo for a little talk I'm doing on Meetup. A couple of groups in Berlin and Hamburg, Wroclaw, Warsaw. 4 European cities at the same time. Pretty awesome to experience that. Thanks to Corona. Own the unknown. How do you deal with being a beginner? It's one of my keynotes that's becoming more and more relevant. How do you uh, maintain the feel of what defines your ownership of a situation, your outlook on life when so many things are unknown? We hit the hour mark
Oh
on
my gosh,
Instagram,
seriously. Oh
so
wow.
that's over. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you. That
We
didn't
don't.
feel like an hour.
It went by
That's really,
fast. It
yeah.
went by fast. Please share and subscribe if you like this episode.
Yes.
If you have topics and suggestions for us, drop us a line,
Yes, please.
and we'll see you next week.
Love change out.
Love change out.